So when I first tried to get into the creative industry, I was emailing everyone, sending people messages, sending people letters, just bothering people. And I thought in my head, I had this view of the creative industry, which was a load of people at the top of their game, all sitting around some like cool bar, giving each other jobs and making loads of money, coming up with ideas. They all just hang out and have a good time. And that's what I thought the industry was. And something I would have told myself back then, which is really useful mentality change, is the people who are at the top of their game now are still working with the same people they were working with when they started. And I think that would have changed my first 2 years in the industry, because I would have stopped looking to sort of like jump on other people's success, that kind of like clout chasey, oh look, that looks like a photographer or videographer who's making money, what are they doing, how do I get involved with them, how do I become friends with them? Stop looking for that. That's useful to see how people do things, I'm not saying it's not, but you need to look at who's around you, who else is getting started, who's getting in there now that you can collaborate with and grow together. Collaboration never goes away in the creative industry. There is never a point where, I mean, unless you really just want to like shut off and do corporate headshots or something like that, if you want to be doing creative work, there is never a point where you're going to turn down a collaborative job if it's right for you. Obviously, don't take every collaborative project, you'll burn yourself to the ground. When I first got started, I think the first job I ever did was for my mum's hairdresser. That was a great video, still stand by that video. Another two fashion videos I did with a friend. I collaborated with her. She took the photos, I did the video, and we did this little mini campaign for 2 outlets, a women's and a men's outlet. And it's great content. That got me a lot of jobs, that work did. And I still know, and I'm still friends with the people who ran that shop, and one of them is a very talented stylist who I still hope to work with one day. And it's very easy at a certain point to think, look, I've got paid, I don't know, say what was something that was a lot of money a few years ago. Say I made like £200 for, I don't know, shooting an event or something. And then someone comes along and says to me, are you okay to shoot this, this event, blah, 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 so-and-so's going to be here, blah, 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 blah. And you think, no, I don't want to do that. You can't get me with so-and-so's going to be there anymore. I'm worth £200 a day for an event if you want me to come and shoot it. There was definitely a dangerous point, probably 3 years in, where I was getting dragged down by saying yes to too many of the wrong jobs, that I started saying no to everything. And it definitely slowed me down. There was a period where I wasn't moving forward at all. And it's because I wasn't doing anything. You have to be doing jobs. You have to, even if they don't pay, your portfolio is everything at the beginning, because no one knows who you are and they're just going to judge you off your portfolio. Even now, if me getting started 5 years ago saw what I was doing now, I would be surprised at the amount of free work I do. And a lot of the time it's, for a friend or your relationship with unpaid work has to change. You have to stop looking at unpaid work as something that's against you, as something that's like someone trying to drag you down, and you have to look at unpaid work sometimes as an opportunity. And also, if someone comes to you with a little bit of budget, or something where it's just not enough money for where you'd be like, I don't want to do what you want to do, blah, blah, blah. But it might be enough money for you to be able to say, look, I don't want to do your idea, but I've got this other idea. We could spend that money and do this instead. Example of this, I had an amazing designer that I met on a shoot ask if I could shoot their collection. They were saying, we can rent out they'd pay for rent out my studio space. And I thought, I shoot in the studio all the time. It's not new for me. It's not like a big paycheck day for me if I'm shooting and renting out the studio. What if we put that money that they were going to spend on hiring the studio for the day, and we travel and we go and take pictures down in Devon, down in Dartmoor. And we did that. And those images, I was on a call the other day for a job, and someone said that as soon as they saw those images, they knew that was like, oh, I can do outside stuff. I can handle that. I can work with countryside environments in my photography, which obviously you think, oh, if you can do studio, blah, 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 of course you can do that. Sometimes you have to do the work first for someone to be able to see that you can do the work. I mean, that has always been the case for me. From shooting birthdays, shooting weddings, to now shooting high fashion. No one believes you can do it until you've done it. That is something you have to think about when you look at your portfolio. Your portfolio might be good. You might be able to look at your portfolio and know, wow, I use flash lighting in this, that studio, I understand how to do it. But when you're trying to pitch to someone above what you're already doing, and they look at your portfolio and go, well, I don't know, you've done a lot of studio stuff, but it's a lot of, grey backdrops. Can you do a white backdrop? It's like, a fucking course you can do a fucking white backdrop. A fucking course you can fucking do that. But someone who doesn't know anything about this looks at that and goes, oh, it's not exactly what's in the mood board. You are being hired because someone doesn't know how to do what you know how to do. And sometimes that means you have to show a plethora of different ways of doing it, to really sort of ram home the idea that you can do that. I was having coffee with someone who works in the industry the other day, and we're both saying that obviously it's Christmas time, winter time, and we are busy. We're both very busy. We feel very lucky that we're very busy because a lot of people in our industry aren't very busy. And he said, the thing that it probably is as to why we're so busy is because we never say no. We never turn down work. We're always available. We're always on time. We always over-deliver. And when you do that for about 6 years, or in his case, a lot more than that, people just come to you. The word of mouth works way stronger than emailing people, cold calling people. Having someone turn around to their friend and say, you've got to use this guy. If you give him the call sheet, he'll be there and he'll bring more kit than you need and he'll over-deliver on the video. That is way stronger than you emailing and sort of saying, oh, could you take a look at my portfolio, please? And that comes back to what I was saying about growing with people. It's a time game. There's no shortcut to blowing up in this industry. Obviously, social media definitely helps. Dating celebrities and doing all of their content, that helps. But those seem to be the only two. And when I say over-delivering on stuff, that doesn't necessarily mean you got to come in, give it 120 on every kind of job. When you're doing those collaborative jobs, when you're doing those jobs that don't quite pay so much money, the ones where it's a bit of an ask and people are like, thank you for doing this, just bring 100% to that. Don't bring your, I'm above this, I'm worth more than this. Don't bring that to a job where you're not being paid that much, or you're not being paid at all, or it doesn't feel like it's worth your time. Just bring that 100%. This is a story someone told me years ago, which was they were hiring someone for good rate jobs, well-paid jobs, consistently. And then they one day had like a not so well-paid job and they tried to get this guy on. The guy was like, sorry, I'm not taking any low-paid jobs right now. And then, he got to that point that, I said I did sort of a few years ago, where it's like, I'm above that now. I make good money now. You have a good streak and you're like, nah, I don't do that low-level stuff anymore. He didn't bring the 100% to the low-level job. And then a few months later, the knock-on effect of that was he came back to my friend and was like, please, if you got anything going, I'll take anything. Because you end up losing momentum. When people see that you're not working, they don't think you're worth hiring. So even if it's not paying you money to be working, it's important to be working because it's about your image. It's about being seen to be busy. The one thing that really drives me crazy when I see people do it, I don't message them to tell them not to do it because I don't know, I just never would do it. But when people put on their story, got this month free, yeah, book me this month, got no work on, anyone want to help me out with some jobs? No one wants to help you out in the jobs. If no one else wants to hire you, it's clearly because you're shit. Why would I want to hire you? That's the mentality. If someone sees that, someone who's hiring sees someone on their story being like, oh, I don't have any work. They're not like, oh, poor you. Oh, better give you some work then, because, don't want you to just sit around with your dick in your hand. No, they're going to look at it and be like, oh, no one's hiring you. I wonder why. Is it because you're shit? Is it because you got cancelled and you're not telling anyone? Like, I just don't understand it. I don't understand why you'd bait yourself out when you're not busy. When you're not busy and someone comes along and says, oh, have you got time for doing it? It's just like, ooh, you got to do this. You got to be, ooh, don't know right now. You can be looking at your calendar, but sorry, I got to look at my calendar. Got to look at my calendar real quick. Take a look at the calendar. Open up an empty calendar for the whole year, and you go, could you do next week? I've got a couple. What can you do next week? What have you got free? And then they'll be like, oh, I could do Monday, Tuesday. And you'd be like, ooh, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, I could do that. Oh, hi, Finn. I'm telling people how to get work. When it comes to reaching out to people, you have to stop thinking, what can this person give me? Stop asking people for, can I shadow you? Can you give me some advice? Can I tell? The best thing for reaching out to people is offer to shoot their behind the scenes. If you shoot behind the scenes on a set, you have free reign to walk around wherever you want, film whoever you want, talk to whoever you want, ask them whatever questions you want for the behind the scenes, for you. You get to meet the whole crew. If you come on as a runner, you don't really get to do very much as a runner. You might get paid more than shooting behind the scenes. I don't know. It depends. It could go either way on the shoot. Don't know. But if you come on as a runner, you're going to be running around doing stuff all day. You don't really get that much time to talk to someone. If you are talking to someone and all of a sudden it's like, someone, you over here, and we need duct tape right now, you're gone from the conversation. If you're shooting behind the scenes, and if you want to get into doing more shooting, if a client sees you and is like, oh, you shoot behind the scenes, blah, blah, blah. Well, obviously this is a big production, blah, 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 but sometimes we need some little stuff and we can't afford these guys who are hiring today. Do you shoot stuff? And you can be like, yeah, no, I shoot stuff, yeah. And that might be a way to get some more jobs that way. And another great thing about shooting the behind the scenes is you get to see all of the lighting break down. You get to go to a load of different sets and see how they run, how they operate. Because if you get locked in, running with the same production company or assisting the same photographer, you kind of get stuck in learning one way of doing things. Whereas if you're shooting behind the scenes on a lot of different sets, you're getting to see how a lot of sets operate. When you're reaching out to people, think about what you can give them. If someone reaches out to me and says, can I make you a behind the scenes video or some TikToks or something, I'm like, yes, please. They get the same thing that they would get if they wanted to come and have a coffee with me, but they're not wasting my time because now I have to go and have coffee with someone. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to networking in the creative industry, it's just like making friends. You need to be true to yourself. You shouldn't try and put forward a version of yourself because you think that, this cool designer or whatever is going to like me more if I put myself out there as this person. I remember one time I did a job with someone and I was trying to sort of talk about partying and blah, 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 and be all kind of cool. And I never really spoke to them. I didn't get any more jobs from them after that because I just thought in my head that's who they were to me. I'd met them once before and they were hungover, so I'd sort of box them in as they're cool party people, And I'd think if I'd just been myself, I probably would have done more work with them. Also, if you put across your authentic self and someone doesn't like your authentic self, you don't want to work with them. Maybe you do. Maybe they're, I don't know, one of the Kardashians and you really want to, fake your way into whatever, or, you'll be whoever you want to be in that room. But I meet those people in the creative industry and I have discussions about those people in the creative industry with other people, and we all fucking hate them because they are fake. They take credit for stuff they didn't do. They talk out of turn. They're not collaborative. They're raging psychopaths and narcissists, and they make a great career out of being very false, but no one really likes them. And I often wonder if they like themselves or if they're just happy with, bulldozing their way to the top. But from seeing a lot of people who take a quick route to success, getting the success is great for 5 minutes, and then you wake up the next day and you think, what am I doing? Who can I share this success with? I don't really like any of the people I work with. They're just around because I need them. Whereas if you do the slow build and you get that success and you have authentic friends around you, they will find you in those moments and they'll celebrate with you. So it's important to be authentic, always, especially in the creative industry, because it can be very isolating, chasing goals. And that brings me on to a really important point that I love to bring up anytime I'm chatting non-small talk chat with someone, and that is, in the creative industry, but true for any industry, if you're chasing solely goals, you will be upset when you reach them. You won't be satisfied when you reach them. It's important to have goals, yes, but the most important thing is to enjoy the process. You have to fall in love with the process of what you're doing. If you want to amass, I don't know, a huge portfolio of a certain kind of thing, and all you're thinking about is the gallery exhibit at the end where you sell it all and everyone comes and says, what a great job you did, oh my God, well done. That lasts for one night. The 20 years, the 10 years, the 30 years of building that portfolio, that's most of your life. So you better fucking enjoy it. And I think it's very easy to get caught up on picturing yourself at the Oscars, in the gallery, having your shower and thinking about what you say on Graham Norton. But that's one moment. For most of us, it's not even a moment we'll have. The moments we have are turning up to set, turning up to your painting or whatever it is you're doing, whatever craft it is, and you have to make sure that you enjoy that. Or at least that you don't hate it, you know? You gotta fall in love with the day-to-day and not live off the disillusion of your future reality. A lot of the time you're not gonna get the jobs you want, but you have to remember this is the creative industry and it's not because you're shit. Obviously, it could be because you're shit, but there's probably a million other reasons why you didn't get the job. And me a few years ago, if I saw someone I'd worked with in the past hire someone else, I would be like, I've screwed up, I've done something bad, I must have upset them, must have not done it to a high enough standard, or blah, 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 blah. You put millions of reasons in your head as to why you weren't hired. But really, there are so many more reasons other than just your skill level as to why you wouldn't be hired. And the most important thing I'd say is if you see someone who you usually work with and they've hired someone else, be supportive of that project still. Tell them if they did a good job on the project, tell them they did a good job on the project, the whole team. Reach out to whoever was in charge of the project, say, I saw the work you did with so-and-so, absolutely loved it, you guys smashed it. That's all you need to say. And that comes back to the networking thing. You're not someone who they used to work with, you're someone who's still invested in what they're doing. There is too much work going around to be protective over clients. That's something I wish I knew a few years ago, or I believed a few years ago. There is way too much work out there to just hold on to it. Another important thing to keep in mind when networking as a creative, and this comes back to treat it as making friends, is don't throw your portfolio at people when you're meeting them for the first time. There's this urge, and I see people do it when they're meeting people who they know might hire them. They want to start talking about their work straight away. And sometimes you don't have much time and you do have to sort of get on with it and have that. But someone is more likely to hire you if they like you than if they like your work. And if they like you, the only way they're going to like you is if you become friends. So you need to treat networking as becoming friends with someone. You need to work out if you like them as well. There's no point in throwing your portfolio at someone, them loving it, and then being hired and being on the shoot, going back and forth with them, and then being someone you absolutely hate. I've had to give jobs away before because I had such a chance encounter with getting on a job with someone that when it came to actually doing the job with them, we just kept butting heads through no fault of either party. We just couldn't get on creatively. And then I just had to give that job to someone else. So you have to, in the same way that you expect people to vet you need to vet your clients. And when you start doing that and you start building friendships with your clients, the jobs will just come. Because you've got to think that in the same way that making friends works, if you make friends with someone who's like-minded, that person has more friends who are like-minded, and you'll meet those friends and you'll come together. It's the same with work, it's the same with networking. If you meet a client and you guys are like-minded, you get on, they'll introduce you to other clients who they probably work with who are like-minded. So yeah, lots of takeaways there. I'm gonna do more of these videos because I have loads of things to talk about. So if you enjoyed any of this advice, subscribe and follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all that bullshit.